Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the show. We got a lot of news for you, especially on the cartel front. It's almost like we can't keep the cartel out of our mouths since, I don't know, people have just started paying attention to the cartel and their operations in our own backyard. So the DEA just did the biggest bust in their entire history this week. Let's roll this tape.
This multi-agency operation led by DEA with our local, state, tribal, and federal partners targeted one of the largest and most dangerous drug trafficking and foreign terrorist organizations in our country. The DEA seized 11.5 kilos of fentanyl, including an astounding approximately 3 million fentanyl pills.
All right, so 5 states were involved in this overall bust. I have the breakdown of what was included because this is all related to the Sinaloa cartel. Starting off with Layton, Utah, which I don't know why I'm not surprised that Utah is involved in more cartel drama. It seems like Utah is the secret hub of the cartel and nobody's been paying attention. By the way, I think a lot of this is because no one's paid attention and the cartel's gotten away with operating in plain sight forever. And now we're only paying attention because we're being proactive. At least the law enforcement agencies are being proactive about going after these cartels because now they're designated foreign terrorist organizations. Notice how all the news with Mr. Garcia, the Maryland man, has kind of faded out. Yeah, because he's an MS-13 gang member. Flying out per state what we have here. So Layton had approximately $780,000 in U.S. currency, a Dodge TRX Mammoth valued at approximately $150,000. I've driven in Joe Rogan's TRX and it is insane. I imagine the DEA is just going to turn that into rubble or hopefully sell it at auction, but it's worth about $150,000. In Albuquerque, New Mexico, check out this list, guys. Approximately $610,000 in cash, 49 firearms, some with switches, some ghost guns, 396 kilograms of fentanyl pills, 11.5 kilo. I love how we go from kilograms to pounds and nobody knows what a kilogram is, but let's continue. 396 kilograms of fentanyl, 11.5 of fentanyl powder, 1.5 kilograms of cocaine, 3.5 kilograms of heroin, 7 pounds, we're back to pounds, of methamphetamines, a Ford Raptor, a GMC Denali valued at approximately $140,000. Oh, okay, good. The combined. I don't think a Denali is worth $140,000. Salem, Oregon. Welcome to the club. More than 2.8 mil in U.S. currency. Jewelry valued at approximately 50 G's. A Mercedes AMG and a Ford F-150 Shelby valued at approximately $150,000. Hey, didn't Andy Stump have a Shelby? Huh. Suspect here. All right, Phoenix, Arizona. No surprise at all that Phoenix is involved in this. Approximately 390 G's in U.S. currency, 72 pounds of meth, 13 kilograms of fentanyl, 2.4 pounds of heroin, 5 kilos of cocaine. And in Las Vegas, an illegal alien was apprehended and removed. More than 93K in U.S. currency, 2.7 kilograms of cocaine, 1 pound of meth. And according to DEA Acting Administrator Rob Murphy, this case represents DEA's largest single seizure of fentanyl pills to date. According to the DEA, there are 3 million fentanyl pills that were seized and the destructive criminal acts thwarted American lives saved. Now, the scary thing about these fentanyl pills is they were marked as oxycodone and they were laced with fentanyl, which is, let me just line this out a little bit because I did hear a story from a friend of mine who had a couple that were friends of theirs that died from fentanyl overdose. Now, a lot of people write this off like, oh, it's those druggies. They were using fentanyl in a back alley somewhere. That's not a lot of people who are dying from this. That happens to be the leading cause of death for men between the ages of 18 and 34. What happens is you go because you have, like me, chronic back pain. I'm taking pain meds because I can't function without the pain medication. What happens when they decide they're not going to prescribe it anymore? Well, you might take to the streets to get the same thing on the black market. Except the oxycodone that you think you're taking for your chronic back pain, not because you're a junkie. I mean, you could be a junkie, but not necessarily because you're a junkie. You think you're just taking a pain pill that you get off the black market because you can't manage the pain. Or like a lot of people who are addicted to these things, they need kind of a transitional period. And again, I'm not making any excuses for people who have addiction problems, but not all addiction problems are meth heads living in back dark alleyways that are homeless. This could be your neighbors, your family, or even you. You take that, you don't realize it has fentanyl in it, and then you OD from fentanyl-laced oxycodone. And this is a major problem across the board, which is one of the reasons it's become a national security issue. I don't know. If you want to kill your adversary, what you might do is incentivize some Americans and come up with a pandemic that affects everybody in that country and kill millions of them. Or if you want to really do damage, take advantage of the consumption of drugs they already are addicted to and just lace it with fentanyl, making them more addicted. And if they accidentally die from an OD, yeah, that's no big deal because they're an adversary anyway. Where one falls off, there's another one to take their place. Now, what's wild is this is a drug organization, the Sinaloa Cartel, and they're all linked to this. So this isn't just a seizure of drugs. This is 16 foreign terrorists that were rolled up that were all part of this. Not a lot of national media is reporting on who these players are and what's their status, but I guarantee you the overwhelming majority of these individuals came into this country illegally and likely came into this country in the last 4 years unobstructed. And that's the major issue that we're dealing with illegal immigration. I do want to pull up a picture of these firearms that were confiscated. One is a ball and cap firearm, but you can see there are some AR platforms. There are some bullpup kind of setups. Trying to see if there's anything unique. Oh, there's a cowboy gun at the bottom left corner. Man, I don't even see any SIGs there. Even the cartel knows about the 320 issue. All right, so moving on. I wanted to play this video that I saw the other day on a mini documentary about a member of the cartel talking about the Trump administration. Let's go ahead and roll that.
How dangerous is this area to be in?
En estos momentos todas las áreas son peligrosas.
The Mexican military making a big effort to crack down on the drug production here. How are you responding to that, and how does that impact your work?
Están haciendo un buen trabajo, pero pues como ellos vienen más, pues uno tiene que buscar la forma de seguir trabajando, claro, en baja escala, ¿entiendes? Pero no igual como antes, pero se sigue haciendo.
I mean, according to the Trump administration, you are a terrorist. I mean, the cartels have been labeled a foreign terrorist organization. What do you make of that?
Está fea la situación, ¿verdad? Está fea la situación, pero pues todos tenemos que comer.
What's your message to Donald Trump, if he's watching this?
Mis respetos, él tiene que según él buscar lo mejor para los suyos. Pero el detalle que ya están los consumidores, ¿no? Si no hubiera consumidores, pues uno le parara.
Now, what's unique about this video is the cartel is talking about Trump's position and the things that he's doing, and they have his respect because he's doing something for his people. Now, they had absolutely no respect for the last administration, and that is very telling psychologically. And that's how this culture works. There are many cultures like Mexican culture, Latino culture, Latinx, a culture. Is that a thing? Did we ever figure that out? Well, anyways, there's a whole thing between machismo and integrity and all these values of taking care of your people, and even the cartels respect it. Now, what's shocking to me is likely all of these things that are happening have existed, been going on in plain sight, where local law enforcement's hands have been tied to be able to stop these type of things. The leader of this organization, of this 16 members that were rolled up, is a Sinaloa leader. These illegals are likely going to stay in American prisons. According to Bondi, I want them to stay in our prisons as long as possible, which I think is a vacation. But if they get sent back home to Mexico, they're probably going to be released. I hope they go to El Salvador, but that's likely not going to happen because most of them are Mexican citizens. Lastly, something that stands out is the fact that they're mentioning that perhaps they'll go to Alcatraz. Now, why would that be important? It's about the PSYOP. If you have a prison, for example, that's for the worst of the worst, for example, this place in El Salvador, that is a huge PSYOP on people who are thinking about becoming career criminals. Alcatraz would be a significant factor in this psychological campaign like Guantanamo and potentially preventing a lot of this stuff before it happens. As a sum up, just a roll up, the Justice Department said law enforcement officials seized more than 400 total kilograms, which is 880 pounds of fentanyl pills, 11.5 kilos of fentanyl powder, 80 kilos of meth, 7.5 kilos of cocaine, and 4.5 kilos of heroin. The bus also netted $5 million in cash, 49 rifles and pistols. You can see all of this in the images below. Guys, this is just scratching the surface. This is the stuff that we're able to track down and find. Imagine what we're missing. I think the cartel's on the move. I think their backs are against the wall, and I think they're going to get desperate. I'm going to talk about that in the underground on my patreon.com/Mike Glover. I'll link that down below where we talk about things that we could talk about, just not on here in much detail. Guys, I appreciate you. I'll see you in the underground. Till next time. Later.